So the reason they lack this empathy for others' emotions and their inability to express emotions or minimize the value of emotions is because they're so invested in achieving what's called other or outside esteem. They need approval and validation from others. And this is why their careers and the successful people, it's why it's so important to them and they work 80 hours a week and they strive so much, is underneath all of this is very low self-esteem and very high shame. And so the way they cover over that is through exterior achievement, exterior pursuits. So their primary focus is what's called outside intensity. I'm going to get into what creates this falsely empowered codependent. It all starts in childhood. But emotion and connecting intellectually, spiritually, sexually, emotionally is too scary for them. And so they put all their investment in outside pursuits, meaning anything else is more important than the relationship, because a relationship would require an emotional investment, and that's much too petrifying for them. So most often it's their career that they make their primary focus, or it's their outside pursuits and hobbies. These are the people that have to stay busy and always be doing something. They can't sit still. They can't be present in the moment. They can't just be. They have to do. They are doers. And if you take that doing away from them, all of those suppressed emotions, all the pain from childhood starts to surface. Well, as I said, I'll get into how parenting created this falsely empowered codependent. And since that parenting style was so suffocating and debilitating, it's overwhelming to them. So they're constantly trying to avoid emotions within themselves, even connecting to themselves emotionally and connecting to others. And a wonderful way to do that is through pursuing outside achievement, outside validation. Now, the way men primarily avoid this intimacy and connection is through their work, through their hobbies. They will tend to have sexual affairs. They will tend to be addicted. And here's the thing about addiction is most people just think alcohol, drugs, porn, like the typical type of addictions. But our society condones tons of addictions that aren't healthy for us. You're seeing a massive rise in animals. Like, animals are great, but people are addicted to their animals. Their primary relationship is with their animals because they can't connect to another human being. It's too scary. You see this with working out, with dieting, all of these different, it can be a cause that, is a very, loving cause, whether it's church or some sort of support group or something like that. But, addiction is at its core. Addiction is an attempt to soothe intolerable emotional pain. And so, like I said, our society condones many addictions. It's great if you work out. I don't mean to disparage anyone, but David Goggins, the former, is he a Army beret, or, he's in the military, he's massively addicted to, like, he'd do these 100-mile marathons in one day, and the next day it'd do a 200-mile extreme training event. Like, it's just this addiction to constantly destroy himself, because if you knew his childhood history, which he talks about openly, his dad was horrifically abusive. So now he's just turned that abuse on himself. He's now the perpetrator of his own self-abuse, which is what happens. So addiction, I make this point because most people only think the extreme addicted person who's on the street and is broke and destitute. Almost everybody on the planet is addicted to something, and our society just condones most addictions and says these ones are healthy.